Hello YouTube, back once again with my film reviews, and the other day I saw the new biopic of Florence Foster Jenkins, and the plot of this movie, it is about the infamous singer, Florence Foster Jenkins, who, if you don't know, she's basically the prime example amongst, opera singers as so bad it's great, because she was completely awful, but she was just for opera lovers, she was just so bad it was incredible. And that's who she is, and this is a biopic about the last few months, I think, of her life, and leading up to her performance at Carnegie Hall. And that's the plot of the movie, and let's get into the good and bad of this movie. The good, well, the acting. Meryl Streep as Florence Foster Jenkins. She did a great job. I'll give her credit. She does a really good impersonation of the woman singing. Like, if you ever hear a recording of the actual Florence Foster Jenkins singing, like, Meryl Streep does sound very much does a great job at imitating it. Just like how off tune she was, and how she kept switching pitches every five moment. So Meryl Streep did a really good job at doing impersonation of the actual singer. That she also does a good job at being just such a blissfully ignorant person, just because or not ignorant, more naive, because the thing with so bad it's good, there's always a naiveness to it, because no one ever sets out to be so bad they're good. They think they're good, they are just very misguided, and that's what makes it great, is that passion behind such a misguided attempt. And she does a good job at just showing that, just how naive she is, to just how awful, just truly awful of a singer she is. And she did a really good acting job there, and she also did a really good job that, even though Florence Foster Jenkins, for the most part, is a celebrated singer in opera, there is a certain cruelness to enjoying something on a so bad it's good level, because, like I said, no one ever really strives to be so terrible they're good. And because of that, they do show there is a cruelness. They do show that she is cheering, her audience is really enjoying her performances. But the issue is, she's not giving, they're not enjoying it in the way she wants them to. They're laughing at her. They're not laughing with her. They're not applauding her because they think she's a great singer. They just think she's such a what the fucks. They're singing so what the fuck. It's great. And it does a good job at Meryl Streep does a good job at just showing the misery of this person, just and showing I don't know how I should really feel about this, for the fact that even though people don't like it the way I want them to like it, I'm still bringing joy to these people, and it is a really interesting idea. She does a good job of bringing up that very interesting idea. And so Meryl Streep is great. Simon Helberg as her pianist. Isn't Simon Helberg a real pianist in real life? I may be wrong about that, but I think so. He does a really good job in this movie. He does a good job at just having such a what the fuck face from beginning to end. Just ending to when he first plays the piano during a vocal lesson, and she starts singing, and he hears how horrible he is. And he just looks what the fuck is going on here? That was really funny, and you could definitely tell he was transferring his performance from the Big Bang Theory. He did have a certain level of just misery and just insecurity in this role, and did a great. He was really funny, just his reactions to any time Meryl Streep would start singing. And but I also they brought up the fact that even though he is kind of rude a few times, when they want to perform in Carnegie Hall, he says, "I really don't want to do this," and he's just, and you can't really blame him, because he wants to actually make it as a serious pianist. But the thing is that he knows how awful Florence Foster Jenkins is, and he just says, if I perform with her, no one's going to take me seriously if I keep trying to strive to be a famous pianist. And you do feel for him. You can't help but feel, even though he is being kind of rude to this woman, that can you blame him? He doesn't want to do it because he wants to be taken seriously. So Simon Helberg was really great. Rebecca Ferguson and Nina Arianda, I hope I'm saying those names right. They were also pretty good for such bit parts. They're not given much to do, but I thought they were both memorable with the few scenes they had. But the performer I was really blown away with in this movie was Hugh Grant as Florence Foster Jenkins' husband. He really had to convey the most emotions in this movie because they do not hide the fact that because this guy, and this is true in real life. The reason for a while the real Florence Foster Jenkins was so oblivious to like how horrible of a singer she was because anytime she would give a performance, like he would completely fix it. Like he would only give tickets to those who would be polite and like applaud at the end. He would not let any reviewer give a review unless he paid them off, so they would give it a good review. And even though he does love his wife and he does want to do this and like keep her dreams alive, you can see the anguish on his face of like the amount of misery this causes him, like just how hard it is to keep this like secret under wraps to his wife that she is a terrible singer. Not just that though, Florence Foster Jenkins, she did have syphilis in real life, so there's also this miserable aspect. He was also had this very sad aspect in which they could never consummate their marriage because he didn't want to contract syphilis. That was a very dangerous disease back then. And and so they don't shy away from the fact that this man in real life did have an affair. He had a girlfriend the entire time. He was actually a very active socialite at night when his wife was sleeping. And even though you can argue that this guy's kind of a bastard for cheating on his, like, sickly wife, you can't also kind of feel for him at the same time, almost like, well, like, he does, like, do all these great, nice things for her that are, like, really hard on him, and, like, doesn't he deserve some stress relief? Like, it's an odd thought, like, because usually in a movie, like, when someone's cheating on their spouse, you usually just think like, oh, that guy's a bastard. But in this case, like, it's interesting, like especially the way Hugh Grant sells it, like, you don't really know. You're like, it's just such an odd position to be in. And not just that though. Sorry, where was I going with that? And so Hugh Grant, he did give such an interesting performance in this movie. I would say it's one of his best performances I've ever seen him give, and so Hugh Grant I thought was truly blew me away just for the fact he was given such a hard part, and the fact he did sell it off, like, and even when he tells his girlfriend he loves her, he always makes it clear he also loves his wife, and he is really effective from beginning to end. So Hugh Grant was fantastic. And this movie, I'll say this, it could be really funny in parts. I mean, this is a biopic about what's considered one of the quintessential so bad they're great singers, and anytime you get a biopic on something like that, like the movie Ed Wood, you want it to be funny in some scenes, and it is really funny. Like I said, Simon Helberg especially just having such, like, what is going on here, like, anytime he's hearing Meryl Streep sing, so so the movie could be really funny, and I do like the fact that they brought up, even though you could just kind of just, like, shrug at, like, Florence Foster Jenkins, like, the way you do Ed Wood, like, okay, he made So Bad and they're good, like, Ed Wood, he made So Bad they're great movies, but, like, did he ever do anything that, like, great as a person? Like, did these films ever do anything that great except bring people entertainment in a very ironic sense? Well, they do bring up how this woman actually in a way was very important, because she performed during the final years of during the end of World War II, when a lot of the troops was during the conquering of Japan, and how a lot of troops were starting to return home, and a lot of them were just so shell-shocked and miserable from the horrors they saw across seas that that her scene did really cheer up a lot of like veterans, just for the fact that like they had just seen all these horrible things, and just to see a singer that was so unbelievably bad, like it did really cheer them up and bring a smile to their face. And it does show how good that was for a lot of these returning veterans. So I really like the fact that they did make a very clear point of showing that. So yeah, that's the good of this movie. What's the bad of this movie? Okay, there's two major problems with this movie. Well, one, let me say, the ending is really, really corny. Like, it was... I almost ripped my hair out at the ending. It was like the, if you ever saw Bridge of Spies, like, the ending scene, like, on the train, when I was just like, are they seriously doing this right now? And it's not... in this movie, it's just annoying, because, like, they completely made up the ending for the most part. Okay, well, if you don't know, a few days after her performance at Carnegie Hall, she, Florence Foster Jenkins did suffer a heart attack a few days later while shopping, which, caused her to become gravely ill and eventually die about a month later. In this movie, though, it's so sappy what they do. It's like it's the day after her performance, and even though, like, a lot of people, like, were applauding her, because all the troops that were there did applaud her, and she did think she turned in great performance, there was, like, one critic there who, like, gave, like, a review, like, in a paper saying, like, worst singer ever, and Hugh Grant and Simon Helberg are trying to hide all the papers from her, but then she sees one, and, like, just seeing the fact that she isn't she isn't good in the way she wants to be, like, causes her to, like, just completely snap and die. I was like, oh my god, this is sappy. And it got even worse when she's on her deathbed and she's talking to Hugh Grant. First, it is a very effectively sad scene, just seeing, like, Hugh Grant just in complete tears, just, like, her just saying, like, I was never a good singer, was I? And then, like, Hugh Grant just saying, like, you always had such a great voice to me. Like, that was effective, but then it, like, shows, like, a vision of hers in which it's her performing, and she has a really wonderful voice, and then Hugh Grant and Simon Helberg, like, join her on stage, and, like, the crowd is applauding, and they all take a bow with one another, and then she dies. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is sappy, and that really got on my nerves, that scene. So yeah, that was really annoying. But not just that, though. The other really huge problem with this movie was, here's the problem with trying to be so bad you're good. And I mentioned this early in my review. You can never intentionally set out to be so bad you're good, because to be so bad you're good, you have to have such a passion, such an effort, but it has to be so horribly misguided and naive of how terrible it is, that's why it makes it enjoyable, because it just leads, like, when you're seeing so much passion and so much effort into something that's so, what the fuck am I watching? Like something like The Room, like, Tommy Wiseau did really try to make what he thought was going to be, like, the most, like, best drama ever, and it's such a what the fuck movie that it's really funny because of that, and that's the problem with this. That's the problem. Meryl Streep, even though she does do a really good impression of the actual Florence Foster Jenkins, and it did get a few smirks out of me when she was performing, the problem is Meryl Streep is fully aware about how horrible this singer was. And when you have that, you know this person knows how horrible it is, it's not as funny as it should be. Like, after I saw this movie, I started playing, like, a recording of the actual Florence Foster Jenkins. I thought it was so much more funny than listening to Meryl Streep sing, because the real Florence Foster Jenkins did not know she was god-awful, but Meryl Streep is aware that this woman was a god-awful singer, so even though she's trying so hard, like, to, like, match her, you just can't do it. You cannot intentionally be so bad you're good, and that really is a problem. And I really don't know how they could get around it. Like, I honestly think that was just one of the things they were just going to have to be stuck with this movie. But, yeah, besides that, though, I still thought it was a really good biopic, just for the fact that, the acting, like I said, is just all really great. And they did show why this woman was so important to a lot of people when she was around. So, in total, I'm going to give Florence Foster Jenkins a very solid 3.5 out of 5. I really did like it. If the ending wasn't as sappy, I'd probably say it was great, but god, did that ending annoy me. So, yeah, I'd say go see it if you're at all interested in this woman's story, because it is such an odd story. I would definitely not say, though, this is the next Ed Wood by any means. So, yeah, YouTube, as always, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.